Hi guys, so this is the first of the 5 videos I said that I was going to be uploading very soon that I wanted to record, and it's a video that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and it's something that I absolutely love, and I'm quite surprised I haven't done a video yet for it. I think it was just that thing of having reviewed other videos I've done that are other than review videos, and that I haven't really had much time to do them. And yeah, I thought I would have already done this video, but apparently not. So as it's a bank holiday, I've got the time free. Let's film it. So today I want to talk about audiobooks. Now, I absolutely love audiobooks, and I don't understand. I think it's that thing that if you aren't really into reading, a lot of people have said this to me in my office, and people who I know, that if you listen to an audiobook, it doesn't count as reading a book. And to that reply, I'm like, yes, it does. For crying out loud, just because you're not actually looking at the page and reading off the page doesn't mean that you're not reading. You're not capturing the story. You're not taking it in. I found that really quite surprising that people say that to me. I don't know, and I kept thinking, well, what about if you're blind? If you listen to audiobooks, does that mean that you're not engaged with it, and it doesn't count and such? I don't know if it's just because I'm not blind, therefore people say to me, oh, you're not reading off the page, therefore it doesn't count. I don't know, but a lot of people say that to me, and I'm really quite surprised that they do. I think it totally counts. Whatever form you are getting the story, that is, and you're engaged with it, it counts. Now, in this video, I'm going to make it very clear here that when I say audiobooks, I literally mean somebody reading the words off the page, not dramatized. That's going to be different. That's separate video coming up. So this, I'm just talking about, yeah, as I said, somebody sat in a recording booth reading the words off the page. Now, also, one thing I want to say about audiobooks, I love it, the fact that a lot of actors get chosen to read these out loud. The reason why I absolutely love it is because the way in which they interpret the lines and how they say them. Now, the reason why I say this is because I listened to the audiobook of The Casual Vacancy. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to be bringing it up because I've compiled basically my audiobook playlist from my iPod, and I'm going to talk about them. But I listened to it, and there was a key moment in a chapter where I had read it. I got it when it came out, and I read this book, and I thought it was brilliant. I really liked Casual Vacancy, even though a lot of people ripped it apart. Jackie Rowley, I absolutely loved it. Anyway, and there was a moment in this chapter where I just read the line, and I just thought, oh, it's just someone's retaliation. No, that's fine. And then I listened to the audiobook, and when it got to that key moment, and the actor read the line, the way that they said it made me stop and think, hang on, the angle in which this character is coming from, it wasn't the angle that I had interpreted it to be when I read the page, because I don't know if maybe it's just that thing as an actor, getting into character. Even if you're reading an audiobook, you're just literally reading text from the page. You see a situation in a different way than someone like me would see it. So the way in which you say that line has a different emphasis to the way that I think that line as somebody who doesn't see the world in that way. And I love that. I really love, like also Stephen Fry's Harry Potter, again, J.K. Rowling, how he chooses, especially how he chooses to say things in character as well. I like you have a new a new voice, a new tone, a new emphasis on the way in which a character is structured, just from the way in which these words are being said to you. It's just like, looking at another way of having words being spoken to you. If you think about film versions or TV versions of various texts, and how they convey certain events happening and such, the way in which a simple line is said can have huge significance to certain characters, just from the slight change of tone of how it's said. And audiobooks, I think, are very clever in conveying that. The way that they bring a world to life is so different than TV, than film, than radio, than actual, just you as a person just reading it. I absolutely love audiobooks. I think they're phenomenal. So now let's talk about the audiobooks that are in my iPod playlist. I don't know if any of you guys have got them as well, but let's have a look through. So I've got them all here at my side, so I'll have to keep turning around, so apologies for that. And of course there are some that I have downloaded or I've gotten hold of copies and I've ripped them, instead. So, but I don't have the physical CD anymore. So because of that, I've actually printed off what they look like. So if you want to get hold of it, you can actually see what my downloaded / ripped versions of audiobooks look like. Okay, so let's talk about some classics first of all. And I have got a very interesting collection. It's the CSA Word Classic Author Series of Jane Austen. These are read by Anne Massey, Joanna Lumley and Belinda Lang. Now these are quite good, but they fall into the trap that some audiobooks do, and that is the unabridged versus the abridged version. I prefer unabridged because obviously then you're getting absolutely everything, but the abridged versions like these are, they do some weird and wonderful things. You can either have entire sections just taken out, or because of the flow, because they find it works a bit better, they'll still stick to chapters, but they'll reorder paragraphs. So yeah, and I noticed that very clearly from the recordings of the fantastic C.J. Sanson's works. These are the first 5 books: Dissolution, Darkfire, Sovereign, Resolution, and Heartstone. And they're read by the absolutely amazing Anton Lester. You can see right there, the amazing Anton Lester. I love Anton Lester. I think he's absolutely amazing doing these readings. He's got the perfect tone of voice to it. You can tell he's an actor who very much adores the words, and he conveys the world beautifully. He doesn't just read the word like la 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 la. You feel it's perfect. You can see him in this world, this Tudor world, where he's playing a hunchbacked detective during Henry VIII's reign. Now, there has been another book that has been released since the Heartstone, the most recent one I've got here, was released. And that one, I've got the book, I've read the book, I've got all of these books, by the way, as well as the audiobook. I know that sounds probably pretty sad to have the book and the audiobook, but I love them both. As I said, you've got a different feel to them. So because of that, I want to have every possible version. So I want to hear the actor saying it, as well as having the physical book to read, as well as having a TV adaptation or a film adaptation or something. It's just the way I am. So for all of these, I've got the book and the audiobook. Well, apart from a few cases, but I'll explain those then. But anyway, as I was saying, sorry, kind of went off tangent there. There has been another one since they did Hearthstone, and I don't have the audiobook. And the reason why I don't have the audiobook, and this is another thing that publishers do, and it's so frustrating when they make audiobooks, they changed the person who's reading the audio book. Now, this could have been just because Anton Lester wasn't available or whatever, I don't know. But if you've dedicated, like, five audiobooks. Each of them is about 10 hours long, so it's not like he's only working for like an hour or so or something. You've done 5 out of 6. Surely you're going to bring him back to do the 6th one, please. But no, they changed the actor. And because of that, even though I really should listen to it, I know, to make a decision how I feel about it and everything, because I haven't heard that, I don't know if I'm comfortable spending a lot of money on an audiobook if I'm not going to like it because it's a different person. I know that sounds incredibly silly, but I don't know. I'm set in my ways. I like it when there's an actor who, he's read all the other audiobooks, so I want him to carry on reading the others. I'm sorry, it's the way I am. Yeah, it does get irritating that with audiobooks, especially. And something else has just brought to mind that about audiobooks. It's a bit annoying at how expensive that they are. Now, I understand because they're hours and hours and hours of someone talking, so therefore they're going to be rather expensive, but the CD versions as such can cost average about £30 to £35 each. Yet the actual book itself they're selling for like £9.99. So it's a bit harsh, I think, the amount of money that you've got to pay for audiobooks. If you buy them as downloads, they're around £20. So yeah, and they don't tend to change in price at all. They'll stay like that price regardless. It's not like with sales and such where the prices will fluctuate in that. So it is, if you want to go for audiobooks, it is an expensive thing, unfortunately. I'll say that's the way it is, but this is my collections and stuff, and the other stuff that I'm going to do talk about in other videos. These are collections that I've built up over many years, so I haven't just like gone, I'm just going to go mad on iTunes and spend thousands of pounds or whatever on audiobooks. I have done the various over the periods of years. Now, for one that I've downloaded, that's a classic one, Charles Dickens, David Copperfield. Hold up a bit more closer to the screen. Now, this one is a classic one where it was actually, it was only like £3 or something. It's quite interesting. When you find the Penguin Classic ones, they can be quite cheap compared to other publishing houses. I don't know why. It's really odd. But this is read by Nathaniel Parker. I quite like this one. It's pretty close to the full amount of the book. It's not entirely the full works, but it's pretty much there. Nathaniel, he did all right doing the audio for that one. I kind of bought that one as on a whim sort of thing. I'm glad I did because I like David Copperfield. I like the story, his interpretation of it. But yeah, I wouldn't sing its praises too much. And for other classic literature that I love the audiobooks of. The first one is Juliet Stevenson's reading of Wuthering Heights. Penguin Classic. This it is just absolutely fantastic. It is abridged. It's 2 3/4 hours according to the back. And follows. It's my favourite story of all time, Wuthering Heights, so therefore I'm just going to love this. I think it's brilliant. But the way in which she interprets the words of the world and depicts the characters through a different her voice and everything, and the way in which she conveys the world through words. I'm getting tongue-tied now, sorry. She's absolutely brilliant. I love Juliet Stevenson. But my absolute favourite classic literature audiobook that you must listen to is Sissy Spacek's version of To Kill a Mockingbird. So she is absolutely amazing reading this. Sissy Spacek is from the south of America, so which is where this is set. You kind of feel like when she's saying these words and bringing to life these characters, you can envision even her as a child, running around doing this, that, and the other that Jem and Scout get up to. So this is why I think it worked. Why it works so well. It's like. She's probably like one of my dream people to read this book. So when they said that she was going to do this audiobook, I was like, yes, buy it first day it comes out. Do not care how expensive it is. This is the dream for me. So yeah, so must listen to that one. It's absolutely fantastic. Now there are other books that I've come across which I like. They're kind of one-off books that I really like because I think they're just really quirky, really cool, really fun, and also just the person who has said it, who's read the book, has been fantastic. So this one is Rupert Degas reading Lord of the Rings, a parody of the Lord of the Rings done by the Harvard Lampoon. So basically, it's a spoof of the Lord of the Rings. You've got lots of funny things going on, lots of great spoofs of names and all this lot. Oh, there's a picture of Rupert right there, if you can see him. And he's narrated loads and loads of audiobooks. So to get someone who's really used to doing this, because sometimes actors, when they do it, they are, they're just doing it as a one-off or whatever, so they might not do it very often. So to have somebody who's done loads of audiobooks and reading this out, this is unabridged. It's a really good audiobook. I think he did really well with it. And also who did really well, and he's actually done 2 of them, so I'm going to hold it to the both of them. As you may know, I love Ken Follett's work. I think he's brilliant, and the Richard E. Grant did the audiobooks for The Pillars of the Earth and World Without End, which are Pillars of the Earth is the first one, and World Without End is like the sequel, but it's it's set like 100 years later. So it is a sequel, but it's not a sequel because you've got it's not that characters from Pillars of the Earth are appearing in this, but they're grandkids and great grandkids and such and all that have do appear. So Richard E. Grant is a very interesting actor. I really like him. The way in which he's another one, he's kind of, in a sense, he's kind of like Kenneth Branagh in regards to the way in which he puts emphasis on certain words, really brings it to life. He likes to, find something a bit quirky bit in there. Excuse me, my voice is about to go. And he's very interesting. His tone of voice is perfect for medieval this medieval story, and the fact that it's following a cathedral, religion, monks, the tone, the quietness, and that he's just got fantastic tone of voice for these books. He was brilliant choice for doing this. Now I have to say, some publishers, bravo, absolutely bravo for picking who you do to do your audiobooks. Some of them I'm a bit like, really? Not sure. Now, the next one is the author actually reading their book, and this one, of course, you can't have anybody else read this book. It is Miranda Hart's Is It Just Me? I loved reading this book. It made me laugh out loud. I listen to this audiobook now and I'm giggling away on the bus to it. It's absolutely fantastic. It follows Miranda talking about her experiences of her past and really embarrassing things that have happened to her, and trying to figure out, adulthood and where she stands, and am I the only one who these kind of embarrassing things happen to? And it's a lot of fun. It's all about growing up and finding your place in the world. And so she's the only person who could read this book. So I absolutely love Miranda Hart. I think she's brilliant. Now, the next one is another one where I wasn't really sure about it, and even though I've listened to it a few times, so therefore I am still going back to it, I'm still not sure about it. And it's The Lovely Bones, read by Alicia Brenson. I hope I've said her name right. So I love The Lovely Bones. I think it's absolutely fantastic, but the way in which she's read it, it's interesting. I don't feel the connection to Susie like I thought I would do through the audiobook. As I do connect with other characters in other audiobook films, and I think it's because the way that she says it, how she reads it. It's very interesting and it kept on making me think. When I was preparing this video about how listening to the audiobook count as reading? And it did make me think, the whole thing, that if you had visual impairments, so you weren't able to read the book, so audiobooks was the only connection that you had to these worlds, it kind of, if you don't have the person who is reading it allowing you to connect to this world, it can really turn you away from it. When it could be a book that you would really like. It's just, yeah, that thing of you reading it from, from the page, that versus someone else interpreting it for you. I mean, I'm very lucky in that I don't have a visual impairment or anything, apart from, I have to wear glasses, and that, but I have the options. I can either do it my way of reading it straight from the page and my interpretation, or I can listen to the person who's reading the audiobook. Whereas other people with the visual impairments and such only have the audiobook available. So they, have, if they don't have this person who is reading this to them, able to convey what needs to be conveyed and set a tone for the book, then that's really unfair on them, I think. And I have to say, even though I've listened to it a few times because I love the story, Alicia, I wasn't that impressed by your way that you decided to convey the world. But then, of course, it's that other thing of, how much does the person who's reading the audiobook get to put their interpretations into it? Does it depend on the genre? Does it depend on the publisher, how in the recording session, how they want the person to read the words? They just want to read them blankly off the page, or if someone's, a line where someone's meant to be really jolly, convey it in a really jolly way, as they're talking. I really think the publishers need to, think about things such as that when they're producing these audiobooks, that there are a whole range of people who are listening to these books. And some of them only have this audiobook as the only outlet into that world. So therefore, they've got to get it right. The ones who I feel have really got it right we're going to Del. This is known in this video as the J.K. Rowling section, because we've got, of course, download that Harry Potter's The Casual Vacancy and her most recent crime series. So you've got the first one, The Cuckoo's Calling, then The Silkworm, and then finally Career of Evil. So let's start talking about Harry Potter. Now, the Harry Potter ones, as I said, read by Stephen Fry, absolutely fantastic person to choose to read the audiobooks. He is one of those people that he has got such a wonderful personality. You can instantly understand and connect to him, I think. I was lucky to meet him a few years ago at the Cheltenham Literature Festival. I really liked him. He was a really genuinely lovely man, and he told me how Becky was a beautiful name and signed my book and everything. He was absolutely lovely, and he instantly, even though it was only for like a couple of minutes that I met him while he was signing my book, it felt genuine. It wasn't an act he was putting on. He was really happy to be there. We had a really, minute conversation and such. And he kind of feels like, I know this may sound really, really weird. But he kind of has one of the, as soon as you hear him, he's like, oh, he's one of the friends that you want to have a big hug with or something. He's an instant joy to have around you, and when you hear his name, you can't help but smile and think of the funny things that he's done, or the documentaries that he's made, or just his personality himself. He's a really lovely guy. So to find an actor who could convey the world of Harry Potter, all 7 of them, I've got them all, here, in the most perfect way. Number one choice, and I'm so glad J.K. Rowling said number one choice, Stephen Fry, to do the audiobooks when her publishing house asked her who she wanted, and he said yes. and did them all. He was absolutely fantastic. All of them are unabridged. That I have. Oh, I didn't pick them all up then. Yeah, all of them are unabridged. So you get the entire world available to you. He's absolutely fantastic. His different impressions of the characters, because he voices all of them differently. His excitement when something exciting happens, and Harry felt elated, and he speaks it like that. He really gets into the world and the characters and just brings it to life in this wonderful way. So I have to say, the Harry Potters are like my number one audiobooks. Absolutely fabulous. So if we go on to the next one, The Casual Vacancy. Now, as I said, this was somewhere where a line was said in a chapter that I had never thought of, the way in which it got said, and it brought a new light to audiobooks for me. So this, again, is unabridged. It's read by the fantastic Tom Hollander. He's a great actor. He's done so many dramas as well as comedies. I really love him. I've got collections of DVDs that he's been in. You may know him quite clearly if you've watched Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 version with Keira Knightley. He played Mr. Collins. He's got a fantastic tone to his voice as well. He's very interesting in the way that his choices of how the tone of lines and such are to be said. So as I said, it brought to light, it put an angle on an argument that I was reading in the chapter that I didn't think of when I originally read it. And so when the repercussions of that argument later on, I think I understood, in a sense, the choices and the results at the end of the book for that character because of a tone of a line, which sounds insane, but it was one of those lines. It was a key moment that, even though it's just one line that somebody says, that is going to have major repercussions by the end of the book. And I knew that, obviously, when I read it, that the end of the book, what that meant. But then rereading it along, as listening to the audiobook, and hearing that line said in another way, put more of a tragedy, more of an emphasis, more of an understanding even on the end of the book. And it was all thanks to Tom Hollander. And if I hadn't listened to this audiobook, this fantastic audiobook, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have that same feeling. I wouldn't understand that character in the same way. So thank you, Tom Hollander, for reading the audiobook. It's amazing. And so we go on to the crime series. Now, I love. It's also nice, I have to say, that the various publishing houses and such have understood that the different genres can mean that a different actor is used. Someone who is, in a sense, you could say, more associated with that genre. So for Harry Potter, Stephen Fry, you could see him in like mystical, magical worlds and such. Tom Hollander is just an everyday village person, in everything. Can see that. Crime novels, you've got to go over to the Galbraiths. Philip and Robert Galbraith are really famous actors here in the UK, and I think around the world as well. I'm not entirely sure, because obviously I don't know. I don't know how Americans, if they know Philip Galbraith. Glenister, but Robert Glenister, he reads all three of these, and I love them. The way that he speaks as Corin, especially, and Robin. I really love that. I have to say, that thing also, that if you are a female actor and you're reading an audiobook in which men's lines come up, they can go a bit deep and a bit but it's very interesting that when I hear audiobooks that men have done and female characters come up, they don't talk really high, they go up a bit, obviously, but because they're trying to convey stuff, but it feels quite natural. So I don't know, maybe it's just the audiobooks that I've listened to, that if you've got a female actor doing the voice of a man, they go a bit deep and maybe I need to explore that more. But yeah, I think especially I'm getting Robert Galbrath and Robert Glenister the wrong way around in my head. Oh, sorry. Robert Glenister's the way in which he speaks as Robin, I really like. I really like also that it's very interesting also with audiobooks, the pauses in between lines, because some actors, when they read it, they just go with the flow. They just, just as you would read, you carry on. Whereas other actors will pause quite a long time between sentences or paragraphs or everything. But Robert Glenister, he only does them at key moments. Like there's this whole interesting storyline in Career of Evil where Robin reveals why she dropped out of school. It's a really poignant, pretty huge revelation for Cormoran as to how Robin is the way she is, and the fact that she has never told anybody this story outside of her family and her fiance, and she's telling the story and she's petrified what he's going to say, and he chooses that moment to have quite a long pause because he is acting as Cormoran at that moment, and then the next paragraph, next sentence, then goes into what Cormoran is thinking and how he reacts to it, how he doesn't say a word. So that silence is Cormoran, and he's being that character. And I love that he makes those choices that are just brilliant for conveying the story and the world. And I think he's absolutely fantastic. And now my last two collections are from my childhood, and so I kind of felt it's that thing that because books are so prominent for me even in childhood, that there are certain books that I just have to own. It sounds really strange, but it's true. And so one of them I couldn't get hold of the picture of, so I apologise for that. It was There's a Wolf in My Pudding, which is fairy tales told in a really gruesome way. All children love gruesome things, and I did when I was a kid, so I was just like, oh, I have to have them, have this audio book. And it's the nostalgia. You may say, oh, it's really weird having children's books on your iPod or whatever that I listen to. It's like, yeah, but technically Harry Potter is classed as children's books, and I'm sure you've read them as well, so you can't get angry at me for reading a children's book via an audio book if you've read children's books as well. Sorry, it's the way I feel. So I had the wolf. There's Wolf in My Pudding, which I couldn't get the picture of. The other first one of the two collection, the Roald Dahl collection. Now, these are read by a variety of actors like Quentin Blake, Stephen Mangan, Tamsin Greig, Miriam Margolyes, Chris O'Dowd, Douglas Hodge, Julian Rintut, Derek Jacobi, Kate Winslet, and David Walliams. An array of actors, British actors, who are absolutely amazing at conveying these worlds. For children especially, you need to get the tone right. You need to connect with them. You need to set a standard, I think, because if this is the thing that's going to get them into reading, you've got to get it right, and they do absolutely amazing at that. And the other bit from my childhood, which I absolutely love and therefore have them on my iPod, are the Horrible Histories collection. Now, the Horrible History ones are a bit weird though, because technically you could class them instead as radio plays rather than audiobooks, because the way in which the Horrible History books were structured is that you had lots of little, you had sections telling you timelines, you had some paragraphs about various things, but a lot of it was done in drawings of funny skits and all this lot. So instead of just having someone read the page, they have had actors play out the skits, do school scenes where the teacher is teaching them things and they're doing pop quizzes or doing school trips, so they're going to see Stonehenge and stuff like this and learning about Stone Age people and stuff. They're really great. They're really quirky audiobooks, but I think that's why I like them. And they're only about 45 minutes to an hour long. They're not very long at all. But to have something like that that connects you to history at an early age. I think that that's a really great thing, just as with, you know, Roald Dahl collections and such. If you've got these amazing actors reading these stories that are connecting you to books for the first time, and they set you on a passion for reading, that's awesome. So I absolutely love them. All right, so that is my audiobook collection. Now, there are other collections that I have as well, which I'm going to bring to life in my other videos, so stay tuned. I'll be back soon with those videos as well. So I hope you enjoy this. Thank you for sticking around. I can't believe, 35 minutes, my goodness. I've gone on quite a little longer than I thought I would. But okay, so if you have listened to any of these or want to give your thoughts on audiobooks, please leave me a comment in the comment box below. If you want to show what you think another way, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely up to you. I'd love to know what you think of audiobooks. Do you love them as much as I do? You know, I hope you do. Or if you've never come, you know, listen to one, I really recommend that you do. If you want to ask questions about my audiobook collection, again, feel free to pop a comment in the comment box below or send me a private message. All right then, bye.